Today we're gonna make one of my favorite soups. It's chicken corn chowder. We're gonna do it right in the Ninja Foodie cold and hot blender, and it's gonna be a lot healthier for you, and the secret ingredient is right under here. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food, and we keep it real simple. And the secret ingredient is cauliflower. Instead of a lot of heavy cream or a roux or anything like that, we are going to use cauliflower as the base of our chicken corn chowder. And trust me, at the end, you will not know the difference. This is velvety smooth, it's rich, it's delicious, and it's easy to do. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is add in 1 cup of chicken stock to the blender here. We're gonna add in the juice from the can of corn that I used. And I used canned corn, but you could use frozen corn. You would just want to add another 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock, okay? Because this is about 3/4 of a cup of the juice in the corn, but that's going to help build flavor. It also has salt because there is salt in canned goods. So we use very little seasoning in this soup. If you don't use the canned corn, you use frozen corn, you need to probably add a little bit more salt, but I'll leave that up to you. All right, 2 slices of raw bacon. This is applewood smoked and it's the thick cut, but you could use any kind that you like. And then I just cut it up into these size pieces. You don't have to make them real small or anything. The blender's gonna take care of that for us. All right, let's add that bacon right in there. Get it all out. All right, so I had a 15-ounce can of corn and I took out a 1/4 cup. So if you're gonna use frozen corn, it's perfectly fine. Just take out a 1/4 cup and put it in the blender now. You don't have to thaw it. It can be frozen. It's gonna be just fine. A 1/4 of an onion, and they're just in big chunks. Put that in. Start getting our cauliflower in. And this is 1 pound of cauliflower florets. So I would say it's about 4.5 cups, but I measured it by weight. So it was 16 ounces of florets. It turned out to be about a half of a head of cauliflower, a medium-sized head. All right, so the next ingredient is 1 bulb of roasted garlic. Now that is my preferred way to put it in the soup, but if you didn't want to take the time to roast the garlic, you can either omit it altogether or you could just put in 1 or 2 cloves of regular garlic. Roasted garlic is very mild, so 1 bulb is not too much, I promise. All right, so I'm just gonna squeeze this out. Squeeze it right into here. Super easy too, because once it's soft from the roasting, all the cloves come right out. I just make sure I don't get any of the paper because we don't want that in our soup. And that looks good. All right, so let's go ahead and get this in. Perfect. Now we're just gonna add some salt and pepper. Super, super simple ingredients here. We're gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and then 1 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt. You don't want to use table salt, that's very different. You would use a lot less of it, maybe 1/4 teaspoon or so. Okay, that's it for now. Now we're gonna put the lid back on, or put the lid on the blender, I should say, and turn the blender on, and we wanna go to smooth soup. Now what's gonna happen is the blades are gonna pulse, it's gonna heat, it's gonna blend everything up, it's gonna cook that bacon, so no worries about that. It's gonna soften all the cauliflower, and it's gonna turn into a creamy, creamy soup. Then at the end, we add in our chicken and our corn and a little bit of cream. All right, we just finished one of the blending cycles. It was just a couple of seconds. It can be super helpful to know when the blender is going to start to blend. It's a way for you to judge when to add your ingredients if you don't want them chopped up so much. Even during the hearty soup function, there is some blending. So there are some times, like noodles, for example, that you would not want to add until after the last blend function. If you want to get all that information, I have it on my website and I will link to it below. It is a great in-depth guide for the Ninja Foodi Cold and Hot Blender. All right, so we're getting close to the end of our 30-minute cycle, and that still doesn't look too creamy, does it? Don't worry, because the magic is about to happen. What I'm gonna do real quick is add in 1/2 cup of cream right to the blender and put the lid back on. Now, don't worry though if you're not standing right by the blender. You can always do that at the end, but watch the magic about to happen. I love this blender. All right, there we go. Now our creamy base is done, and now we just add in our corn and our chicken. And I have 8 ounces of chicken breast that I just baked up. It was baked just with salt and pepper, but a rotisserie chicken would work great. You could use more chicken, you could use less chicken, omit the chicken, add chicken, vegetable stock instead of the chicken stock. I mean, you can really change this up. All right, so let me show you how thick it is right now though, just so you get an idea. It is a wonderful chowder consistency. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and add in the chicken and the corn. All right, add that in. And now let's just kind of push everything down underneath. Now it could really just sit in there on the keep warm function, but I usually just go ahead and heat it up just for like 5 minutes on the cook medium. For about 5 minutes, just to heat that chicken through. But honestly, this is so hot right now, it's gonna be heated if it just sat there for a few minutes. So let's talk about some toppings, because you can get really creative with this soup. Obviously, you could crisp up some bacon and crumble it on top. That would be delicious. You can add some green onions or some red peppers. You could add green peppers. You could add different seasonings. I've got a little bit of chipotle pepper here, and that's what I'm gonna add to the top of mine, just to give it a little bit of a kick. But it's also delicious just the way it is. All right, I've waited long enough. I'm gonna go ahead and cancel this out, and I'm gonna open up the lid. Now it is gonna be a little steamy, so make sure you do that kind of carefully. And this, I just wanna let you guys know, this makes 56 ounces or about 7 1-cup servings. And the best news of all is that comparable recipes that I've looked up are 500 calories. This one is about 250. So we are really slashing those calories by using the cauliflower, and you will not know it. So if someone in your family doesn't like cauliflower, don't tell them. All right, let's get a nice scoop of this. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful, it's thick. Oh. All right, before I add anything, we'll give it a little taste, okay? It's gonna be hot too. Oh my goodness. Now that bacon really makes a huge difference. So if you were gonna omit the chicken and change the chicken stock to a vegetable stock because you wanted to do more of a vegetarian type of meal, you might want to put in a little bit of liquid smoke. You might need to add some other seasonings. Maybe even some smoked paprika would work, because I'm telling you, it really, really gives a depth of flavor that is unreal. All right. Put on some of these toppings here, and then what I'm gonna do is just take about a pinch, maybe 2. Ooh, I can't wait. I've never tried this before. I know it's gonna be delicious though, but I didn't think about it before I started filming to add that chipotle. All right, here we go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, Jeff is not a fan of creamy soups at all, so while he said this was good, it wasn't his cup of tea, but I wonder with this Chipotle whether he's gonna like it. I'm gonna have to get him to try it. The chicken is so tender. Oh my goodness. And look how beautiful that is with all the little toppings on there. It's very festive. Oh, all right, guys. A super easy soup. Cut the calories in half. It's absolutely delicious. I hope you love it.